Hi there, and thank you for tuning in to The Social Circus, where every week we dive into a variety of topics covering social media, mindset, and how to run your business. I hope that you enjoyed today's episode. Hello, my lovely listeners, and welcome to another episode of The Social Circus. I am your host each and every week, Sarah Thompson, and today I'm going to be talking to you about ChatGPT. Now, this is something I feel like it keeps coming up all the time. There are so many articles on the news and on LinkedIn and people talking relentlessly about AI and particularly LLM or large language models, of which ChatGPT is one. And I think for many of us as small business owners, it can feel a little bit overwhelming and it can feel really intimidating. Now, I know that when I speak to a lot of my clients when we're coaching, so many of them are not using AI because they have been hamstrung by what they think the limitations of it are. And this makes me really sad because there are so many ways that we can be using tools like ChatGPT. And I'm going to talk about ChatGPT today because it is my favorite, but other tools like Gemini and Jasper work just as well for many of these things. So if that isn't your tool of choice, you can probably steal most of these things on there. But ChatGPT is my tool. Now, what I find is most people are completely overwhelmed and they've tried it for things like writing and text and copy, and maybe have had very average results and then have kind of gone, I'm not really sure what all the fuss is about because I'm not loving it and I'm not finding it valuable and I haven't found it something that has helped me in my business. So today I want to share with you some ways in which you can be using ChatGPT that can really help save you time and money. And then I'm hoping that you haven't tried these out or even known that you can do these things. And I guess we don't know what we don't know, and that can often hold us back. So I'm going to open your eyes, I hope, today with some of the ways in which you can be using ChatGPT. And one of the first things I want to talk about is that you don't have to use ChatGPT to write your content for you. So whether that's short form content like social media posts or long form content like a blog or an email marketing kind of, newsletter, you can actually use it as an editor or a proofreader. Now, this is one of my favorite ways in which to use Chatty, which is what I call ChatGPT, and I'll probably reference it in this podcast of that because it's so clunky to say ChatGPT. So if I say Chatty, that's what I'm talking about. So one of the things that I love to do is I do love to write my own text or my own copy. But what that means is I often get very close to what I've written and I think it's awesome. And I forget that I understand what I'm trying to say and I understand what I'm trying to convey. So what I will often do is I'll ask Chatty, like I can upload a Word document or I can just copy and paste what I've written into Chatty and I can ask it a few questions. So my favorite questions to ask it are, first of all, what is your message or your takeaway that you get from reading this? Because I know what I'm trying to say and I know what I'm trying to get people to do, but it's really interesting when Chatty interprets and reviews my content, what it gets as its takeaway. And if it's not aligned with what I think, then I need to go back and review the copy that I have written. So that's a great question to ask it. The next question I love to ask it is, what could I do better? And again, when you're really close to your text that you've written, it's really hard to see how things can be improved. So asking it what you can do better is a really good thing to do. And the final question I love to ask is, what's missing? Okay, so for example, if I'm writing a sales page and I upload my sales page copy, I want to know if I've missed some key things that should be included on a really good performing sales page. So it's really great to do those kind of things. All right. So those are ways in which you can use it for standard text, which you may not have tried before, which are pretty standard. But what I want to do is dive into some stuff that you may not have used ChatGPT for already. Now, one of the things that is really, really interesting is to have a conversation with Chatty and have a conversation in what we call role playing. Now, role-playing is something that can be incredibly powerful because it allows you to get another perspective. And as small business owners, we often don't have access to resources that will allow us to do things like market research. And so we're relying on our own data and our own intuition to kind of get this information and make these kind of conclusions in our business, which may or may not be a good thing depending on how we do it. So role-playing is a really fun activity that you can use ChatGPT for. And the way in which you do role-playing is you tell it who it is and you tell it who you are. So I would say to Chatty, I am a digital marketing coach and business mentor. This is who I am. And I could link to the About page on my website so it could get who I am. And then I would say to it, you are a small business owner. This is your background. This is your experience. I want to have a conversation between you and I about what you're struggling with and how can I help. And then I'll say to it, what questions would you like to ask me so that you can help identify the role that you're playing in this activity? So it will give you a bunch of questions and it might say to you, how much experience do I have? What kind of business do I have? Is it a product service? So Chatty will come back to you with some more questions to help you get that role-playing activity set up really, really well before you dive into it. And what's great about, large language models like ChatGPT is they're drawing on billions of pieces of data. And so you can actually have a really good role-playing conversation with them to get in there. So you could say to them, what's the one thing that you struggle with in your small business? And that would be a really great question to ask. And then it could respond as if it is that small business. So the role-playing that you can do can be really insightful, and you can definitely treat it like market research, which is a great way to approach getting that information, getting that insight, which may not always be accessible to you for, all those different reasons, whether it's time or the money or whatever it is. This is a really good way to conduct some role-playing activities so you can get your head in the space of like, right, now I know what their struggles are. This is what I've created that's going to help them with that. So I love role-playing. I guess as a marketer, it's something that I've always naturally leaned into, but I know that it's something that you can use really, really well in your business. Now, the other way in which you can use ChatGPT is for market research. And this is something that I have used many times over, particularly when I'm creating something new in my business or I want to know what's going on in the marketplace. And one of the ways in which you can use it is to work out what everybody else is offering in the market. So if I was say, I do have a mastermind, let's just pretend I'm going to start a mastermind in my business. And I want to see what everyone else is offering out there. So I might know of like 4 or 5 other masterminds that might be in some way compete with my mastermind, like we might have the same audience or have a similar offering. So what I can do with ChatGPT is I can say to it, I want to do some market research because I'm thinking of starting a mastermind. So I tell it what I'm going to do. And then what I can say to it is, here are 4 websites that run a mastermind. And then I could input those 4 website URLs into Chatty. And then I could say to it, give me a summary of these 4 masterminds against these 4 criteria. So first of all, 1, what are their inclusions? Like, what do you get in the mastermind? Like, how many sessions? What do the sessions look like? The second thing I want to tell me is, what is the price? And the great thing about this is that sometimes people's prices are buried in like their terms and conditions, and they're really hard to find. Chatty will sniff those out for you if they are on that website. So it will tell you the price. And then you can say to it, tell me how long I have to join for, and it'll tell you then whether it's like 6 or 12 months, what that looks like. And then you could also say, what are the bonuses that you get and what are any extra inclusions we haven't covered? So I could ask it to tell me against all of those different criteria. And this is really, really helpful because then suddenly you have an overview of, here's all the masterminds, here's what they offer, here's their pricing, and here's how it's all structured. Now, this could take you like a day to put this information together. So if you are kind of jumping into a new space in your business, or maybe you're having an overview of your business and you're thinking, why is my coaching really quiet in my business at the moment? Maybe I need to have a little review of what's going on in the marketplace and see where I sit in comparison to, say, other business mentors, for example. So if you haven't used it for market research yet, I'd really encourage you to do that because it is very cool. Now, hot on the heels of market research, one of the things that you may not be aware of in ChatGPT is that you can have it deliver information to you in a table format. So this is a tool that I use all the time, particularly when I'm creating social media content. But in that example I just gave of the market research, I could tell ChatGPT, please create a table that reviews all of the masterminds. And in each column, I want you to put like in column 1, the cost, column 2, the duration, column 3, the inclusions, column 4, bonuses, and column 5, any extras. And it will put them all in those columns for me. And suddenly I have a table that comes back to me in light speed with all of the information that I'm searching. So these are really, really useful for market research. Tables are also great if you are doing things like creating social media content or creating calendars for your social media. If you haven't tried out tables before, I really hope this is going to be a revelation for you because I think tables are great and they're a very easy way of presenting information for you. So if you haven't tried this out before, go and have a little play. It's super fun. It's super easy. Now, the other thing that you may not have used ChatGPT for is to update existing documents. Now, this is something that I used a few months ago, because we don't always have the time and energy to fix a document. So I was signing a new contract with another company that I do training for, and it was a very tight turnaround to get me onboarded as a trainer. And they didn't have a current engagement contract. And I said, I've got one here, but let me update it for you. And what I actually did was I uploaded the document to ChatGPT, the contract. It was actually a PDF. And I said to it, can you please recreate this PDF? But everywhere it's got this company name, can you replace it with this company name? And can you find all of the instances where it mentions a pay rate so then I can review them and check that that's correct? And can you also change the dates to today's date? And can you change the duration of the contract to 12 months, not 3 years? So all of the things that I wanted it to change, I told it, then it added the document and it changed it all for me. Amazing. So it kind of works like that search and replace feature in Word, but it does it in one foul swoop. And I really like that because when I uploaded the document, I actually said to it, is there anything as the person who is going to sign this contract that you think I should be highlighted for that seems unusual to you? Because I'm not across contract law. And it said to me, did you realize it doesn't have a cancellation clause for your workshop? So there's no cancellation if it's cancelled in 24 or 48 hours. And I was like, ooh, that's a horrible lesson to learn. So we made sure that was included, which is really, really helpful. So this is a tool, if you haven't tried it out yet, I would really encourage you to do, because updating documents is something that I think a lot of us can procrastinate on and can take up a lot of time and energy in our business. So it is a really great way in which to use ChatGPT. I know that you're going to find this useful in the future in your business. Now, the other thing that you can use it for is, and this is kind of new iteration, is you can actually upload an image to ChatGPT and you can get it to analyze the image for you. Now, this can be really helpful in your business if you're doing something like a branding exercise. So I have got some beautiful branding photos that have been taken of me over time. Big shout out to my photographer, AJ Harrington. She does an amazing job of my photos. And I could upload some of those photos and I could say to ChatGPT, based on the photos that I've uploaded, can you give me what you think my brand vision and purpose and mission is? Because it should be able to tell from the style of the photos, the way in which I look on those photos, that kind of information. And I could then say to it, I've just had some branding photos done. Here they all are. What are some photos that you think I should get or should be included for my next shoot? What a great idea. So you can see how being able to add photos has a really good purpose in terms of helping us understand things. Let's just talk life for a minute. You actually can upload a picture of your fridge. This is so cool. You can upload a picture of your fridge and you can say to ChatGPT, what can I cook for dinner? I mean, who hasn't stood in front of their fridge and gone, I don't know what to cook. Every time I open my fridge, it seems to be heaving with food and I get completely overwhelmed with what I'm going to cook. So as a side note for all us busy human beings that stare at our fridge waiting for dinner to leap out at us, this has got to be a fun way to use ChatGPT, is to upload an image and ask it those questions. I think that's very cool. And if something you haven't tried before, that's a little fun thing to do on the side. But obviously there are business applications for this as well. Okay, so the other ways in which we can use it is for it to create summaries and overviews. So currently with ChatGPT, you can get an actual Chrome extension which will be embedded into your browser. So when you go to YouTube, you can actually grab the extension and say to ChatGPT, can you please give me a summary of this video? Okay, and this will save you the time of listening to that video, particularly if people have long videos, and it will actually do like a transcript if that's what you want, or it will be a summary. And what I often ask it, because I'm often watching videos to try and grow my knowledge, I will say to it, what are the 5 key takeaways from this video? Because, and I will have a little whinge here, I found that a lot of people's podcasts now and a lot of people's YouTube videos have lost their way. They're not delivering any value and content. They're so busy selling and doing a long intro of this is who I am and I'm amazing, and then like a midpoint ad and then an end ad, and you're like, I just listened to an hour long and there was only 20 minutes of content in there. And I find that annoying because I'm busy. And so if I want to cut to the chase and find out what on earth you're talking about in your video, then the ability to get it summarized and get those 5 key takeaways is going to save me so much time and energy, and probably make me like your business more, because I'm not going to be grumpy that you made me sit through 15 minutes of intro to find that content that I am looking for. So yeah, the summaries are really, really helpful. Also keep in mind that you can upload other documents. So you can upload, like if you're going to look at something like a tender and you get sent a tender, you can actually upload the tender document and you can say to it, help me write this tender. And once you have completed it, you can actually upload your completed tender and say to it, based on the document that I gave you, have I addressed everything that needed to be in the tender? And is there anything you think I've missed or anything that you think I should include? And we all know tenders, they seem to have plenty of time and suddenly you're under pressure working at midnight and it's really easy to miss something important. And to me, you could say to it, create me a checklist of all the documents I have to have and here's everything. Did I miss anything? And this is like having that, non-exhausted EA in your business that can really have that bird's eye view of your business and say, hey, don't forget you must include this or you must do that. And to me, that gives me that chance to kind of just have a second set of eyes go over something that I'm creating that is really important. So I want you to keep that in mind, that you can ask it to review documents like tenders or processes, things like that, really, really key, and help you to get feedback and do a job that's really well done for that. The other thing that you can do, and this has always been a limitation of things like ChatGPT, our large language models, is that they don't fact check for us, okay? And what this then means is that we're being given data or information that we hope is current and accurate, but it's not good enough, I think, in business to hope. Like for me as a trainer, if I'm delivering information to you or even in my podcast, you are relying on me to give you information that is correct and accurate. You're relying on me to have done the homework for you so you can go away and like, oh, I can do that. That's really, really helpful. So one of the things that I've really enjoyed with ChatGPT is asking it to help me find citations or references for information that it's given me. And I'll share an example with you for something in my business that I have. So I've been working behind the scenes in my business on overhauling my website and the messaging on my website. And one of the things I really wanted to do was add in my vision for my business. So my vision for my business is really to empower female entrepreneurs, to help them grow their business and to create profitable and successful businesses. And one of my drivers behind this is, and I'd read it somewhere a long time ago, that women who run businesses invest back into their local community like 3 times the rate of men, and they invest back into their family like twice the rate of men. Now, I'd heard this number kind of bandied about, and so I actually wrote my vision into ChatGPT and asked it to rewrite it for a start. Did a lovely job of that. And then I said to it, my comment in my vision about women reinvesting in their local communities into their families, can you please find me 3 references on the internet that will support this claim? And can you give me the actual statistical information? And I told it had to be reliable sources, so not Wikipedia, obviously. And it actually came back and it gave me like a World Health Organization publication and 2 other really what I would consider to be robust publications. So on my website, when I put this is my vision and this is why I do what I do, because we know this about women, I've put in there, here's the fine print. If if you've read these statistics and are not sure, here's where I got them from. So once ChatGPT gave me those sources, I actually then went and found the website and found that information. So I just kind of back checked it myself and they were correct. So that made me really, really excited because I think a lot of us have been told, and rightly so, information that is put out by large language models is not fact checked, and we have to do that ourselves. And that can be a bit of off-putting because it's like, I don't have the time to do that. So what you can actually do is ask it to help you fact check, help you find citations and references or examples of where this information has been used on the internet. So if this is something that is important to your business, know that you can now get that help through the AI to do that kind of function, which I think is really, really exciting and is going to change the way in which we use it, because I think many of us have had some reservations about AI because of that inability to fact check information. And so it doesn't feel like it's shortcutting the process for us. Whereas now if we can actually get some references, my job was then just to find those references on the internet, check they were correct, and then tick that box and know, yes, I can quote that. Yes, I can say that. And that's really, really important. Now, some of the other things that you can do actually revolve around your calendar. Now, I know for many of us as business owners, managing our diary, managing our calendar, it can be the bane of our existence. But through ChatGPT, you can actually integrate your calendar, whether it's Microsoft or Google. You actually have to get an integration in. So you have to give ChatGPT permission to look at your calendar and create that API connection between them. And once you have done that, you can actually get ChatGPT to look at your calendar and to make recommendations on it. So it can look and say, oh, you're very inefficient with your time here. You've got too many gaps here. You're doing too much travel. You're not doing your days well like this. And again, I can look at my calendar all day and just go, gosh, that's a full calendar. It's busy, but geez, I still need to get to the gym 6 days a week. How am I going to do that? And so you can tell it stuff like, I want to go to the gym 6 days a week. It doesn't have to be mornings, but this is what I'd like to do. Find me 6 spots in my calendar. Or I'd like to do more meditation in the morning. How can I make that work? So it can actually give you reviews and audit your calendar for you and give you some feedback on how to find more time, how to be more efficient with the way in which you have your time allocated. And to me, that again is incredibly exciting because it's really hard to do that yourself when you're close and particularly when you're really busy and exhausted. Now, one of the final things I'm going to share today, and I probably could talk for a couple of days on how to use AI because I love it so much, is in creating extra documents, extra processes and things in our business. So for example, as a trainer, the first thing I always do when I'm training is I create my slides, and I do these in Canva and create a beautiful slide deck. Now, I'm great at this. It's my happy place. But one of the things I sometimes lose the will to live is creating worksheets and handouts for people because I get bored because I've already written the training, it's done. And then I'm like, I don't want to do that. So what I can now do is I can share that presentation file with ChatGPT and I can say to it, please create 5 handouts that I can use to accompany this training or this workshop. So I can get it to create handouts. I can get it to create activities. That is not my happy place. Like, I'm a very practical trainer and I want us to get on and do things. And I know that activities are really good for audience participation. They're really good to support learning, but they're not my strong point. So when I say to it, create 5 handouts or 5 activities, and I can just say to it, can you just create a workbook that people can take home that is a complete summary of what I have taught today? And can you put it into a Word document? It does all that for me. I tend to use a lot of screenshots in my training, so the fact that it can relay those out and put them into a Word document saves me so much time and energy and probably ensures I do a better job of delivering my training than what I would have without it. So I hope that today I have given you a ton of ideas on how to use ChatGPT in your business beyond writing because it has so much capability and functionality. And I truly hope that after today's episode, you feel inspired to go and try some of those things out. And remember, someone asked me this in training the other day, how do I find out what else ChatGPT can do? And I was like, I do so much reading and I, spend so much time watching YouTube videos on ChatGPT and subscribe to lots of people's publications. But one of the simplest things to do is say to ChatGPT, this is me. I'm a busy business owner. This is what I do. I'm struggling. How do you think you can help me? And ask it that question. It's so good to do that. So remember, this is like having an extra person in your business, an extra resource. And if we ask it how it can help, it can come up with ideas that we may never have thought of. So I hope that today you're going to take some action, try out some of the things I have suggested. I'm really excited to hear how you're going to save time in your business because that is a resource that I feel like we all struggle with that so much. So thank you for tuning into the Social Circus today. I hope you are inspired and excited to dive into ChatGPT a little bit more. I am always grateful for you listening into my episodes each and every week. Remember, the Social Circus comes out every Wednesday. Thank you for listening in today, and I'll catch you the same time next week. Thanks so much for tuning in to the Social Circus. As your host, Sarah Thompson, I am thrilled that you've chosen to spend your time hanging out with me. I would be so grateful if you could spare an extra moment to go and leave me a review on your favorite podcasting platform. And if you even felt more excited, you could share my podcast with your friends who you think would get great value from it. Thanks so much again for tuning in.